One woman decided to speak up. Her name was Margaret Chase Smith, the first woman popularly elected to the U.S. Senate. The time was 1950, and her target was Senator Joe McCarthy. She stood alone on the floor of the Senate and issued what she called a declaration of conscience. No cameras captured the speech that day, but here's part of what she said. Today, our country is being psychologically divided by the confusions and the suspicions that spread like cancerous tentacles of know nothing, suspect everything attitudes. An election was looming, and Chase wanted the GOP to win, but she said, I don't want to see the Republican Party ride to political victory on the four horsemen of calumny: fear, ignorance, bigotry, and smear. Her lonely stand inspired more of her fellow senators to find the courage to speak up. McCarthy became isolated, consumed by lawsuits and scandals, ultimately revealed as a petty, paranoid narcissist. He died, widely reviled. Now, the fact that Joe McCarthy's lawyer, Roy Cohn, later went on to mentor Donald Trump is more than a coincidence of history. It's doubly ironic because of Trump's refusal to ever condemn the Kremlin. But the most relevant echo is the lonely stand of Congresswoman Liz Cheney and her looming purge from House leadership for the sin of refusing to back the big lie.
Oh, that is a very low bar. I'm so sorry, John Avalon. That is a very, very low bar, okay, I have to say. And also, that was very condensed because Margaret Chase Smith did give that speech called the conscience speech, okay? She did do that in 1950. And McCarthyism went on and on and on year after year. And the 6 Republicans who joined her declaration of, decency or clarity or whatever, conscience, they all took away their endorsement after Joe McCarthy actually set upon them. You know, this is what happened. In the 50s, you had a Republican Party that was going through exactly what the Republican Party is going through today. Was a completely different Republican Party, because when we talk about the Republican Party pre-Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965, we're talking about a completely different party than the one that we have now, okay? Because all Southern Democrats became Republicans in protest of civil rights. Okay, so it's a much different Republican Party that we have today than we did in the 50s. Just saying. So that being said, let's continue. So Margaret Chase Smith gave this, declaration of conscience in 1950. 6 Republicans joined her and endorsed her statement against Joe McCarthy. Now, the Republican Party obviously was split, just like it is now. It was split. But it was split between like the Eisenhower crowd and the McCarthy crowd, okay? Now it's split between normal people who believe in, crazy conservatism could someday work. Normal people who believe that crazy conservatism can someday work. And racist conservatives. So the Republican Party was split. All right, so McCarthy went to war against Republicans who were on the side of Margaret Chase Smith and thought that he was a radical smearer, bigot, hater, that he was just using lies and all of this to empower his part of the Republican Party, and he was. But this went on for 4 long, ugly, destructive years. Joe McCarthy was not voted out of office. Joe McCarthy died as a senator in 1954, I think. He was only 48 years old. He drank himself to death. So let's not pretend that Margaret Chase Smith had backing from decent people. No, once McCarthy went out there and defeated people in their primaries, okay, in the Republican primaries, smearing them, saying they were also communist sympathizers, he was able to defeat them. He literally was. This is what Roy Cohn, Joe McCarthy's lawyer at the time, taught Joe McCarthy to do to keep power at the expense of American democracy, at the expense of innocent people, at the expense of people who maybe knew somebody who had a different idea about self-governance, right? Smeared them, made them lose their jobs. He did it to his own party members too. If you had the temerity to run and denounce Joe McCarthy would then say, you were also a communist sympathizer. You were somebody who was, a terrorist, and you were somebody who was threatening democracy itself. That's how Joe McCarthy ruled the Republican Party for so long. And that's exactly what's going on here. That's exactly the situation here. Now, Liz Cheney can speak up now after long last about, this is a bridge too far, and I can't go along with the fact that, they're promoting a big lie. But conservatism is a big lie. Everything about conservatism is a big lie. Conservatism isn't a real philosophy of governance. Conservatism is a cover for redistribution of wealth. It is a cover for racism. It is a cover for warmongering. It is a cover for people to say torture works, waterboarding works. It is a cover for deregulation so that water can be polluted and businesses can have their way with you without any competition. No place else to go. Okay, so you have to buy from us. No place else to go. Okay, so you're going to get your news from one of, 3 major corporations. No place else to go because the mom and pops have been bought up because, there's only, there's Twitter and there's Facebook and there's, TikTok. Oh, yeah, so social media. I mean, please. Conservatism doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I don't know what Liz Cheney's, I don't know why people are hailing her as some sort of a heroine, as some sort of, it is a very low bar. In some weird ways, the Cheneys are getting exactly what what they deserve, but we can't even enjoy it because it's getting worse than what it was with the Cheneys. And with the Cheneys, we had endless war, we had torture, we had deregulation, we had redistribution of wealth, we had internal rage, we had racism off the hook, okay? And I can't even enjoy her destruction because it's worse than the Cheneys, the Trumps. It's a dynastic, this is the point, okay? The McCarthys, the separation of the Republican Party in the 50s over the McCarthy era and the cloth coat Republicans, the gentler, kinder Republic. It's the same damn thing all over again. So why in the world are we talking about bipartisanship when we know they will never vote for anything that stands the slightest chance of improving the lives of the people they want riled up, the people they want frustrated, the people they want raging, the people they want arming themselves against their own damn government? And the people that are arming themselves against their own damn government, they're just the product of the problem. The problem is the people who actually, after the violence at the Capitol, still voted to not certify the election, still voted that way, and still repeat the big lie. So Liz Cheney is saying, okay, so now that there's been violence at the Capitol, I can't be down with it. Very low bar. Very low bar. But if I would have told you 20 years ago that within 2 decades we would reach a point where the Cheneys were the good guys, you would have told me I'm boycotting your show. If I would have just said, just be patient, the Cheneys will in the end be the good guys, and I'm not even saying that now. I'm saying they're just not the worst guys. When we thought it couldn't get any worse because Darth Vader was really the president of the United States, okay? Remember how Cheney started? You remember how Dick started? Dick started because he was vetting VP candidates for W, right? W's daddy trusted Dick Cheney. because he was his Secretary of Defense. And so he said, you know what, go help my boy. Go help him pick a vice president who can, help him govern, because he doesn't know jack crap. He's been a drunk his whole life and a coke freak. And, he just loves baseball is really the only thing he's passionate about. So go help him, because I think the kid's got the charisma to be the president. And Dick Cheney was vetting VP candidates, and then he said, oh, hell, you know what? It's me. I'm the best one. That's how Dick Cheney got started. And then they proceeded to ignore all the internal warnings about an attack on the United States, right? Richard Clark testified everybody's hair was on fire, lights were blinking red. No, we could turn this into an opportunity. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.